Let's start. नित्यतृप्ता भक्तनिधिर्नियन्त्री निखिलेश्वरी मैत्र्यादिवासनालभ्या महाप्रलयसाक्षिणी. The verse is saying she is, Arita is Nitya Tripta, ever content, always Tripta. There are no desires in her which create a void in herself because she is ever fulfilled. She is like the ocean, always filled with water. There is no, I mean, there can be times when the riverbed can go dry, but there can never be an entire ocean bed becoming dry. She is Nitya Tripta. Bhakta Nidhi. She is the treasure which all the bhaktas hold dearest to their hearts. Bhakta Nidhi. Niyantri. Niyantri is the controller. She who manages and decides and destines is called the Niyantri. She disposes. Man proposes, God disposes. She is the one who disposes. Nikhileshwari, the Ishwari, the queen, the empress, the controller of everything. Nikhila, Sarva. Sarveshwari is nothing but Nikhileshwari. Maitriyadi Vasana Alabhya. Now, this word is split as, it can be split either as Maitriyadi Vasana Labhya or Maitriyadi Vasana Alabhya. Now, if you remember, there was a similar dilemma with the word Bhavana Gamya, whether it must be split as Bhavana Gamya or Bhavana Agamya. If we were to go by Bhavana Agamya, then this also makes sense because Maitriyadi Vasana. Vasana is the ways, the samskaras, the ways of worshipping, which can be Maitriya, means as considering the god as a friend, Lalita as a friend, or Sakhya, which is also the same as a friend or a closer companion, or as a in the Madhurya as a spouse or as the beloved, or as Vatsalya as the child, or as the Swamitva as the Sevaka and the Swami, as I the slave and he the master, or as me the child, Shishutva, as me the child and the God, the mother. So these are the different ways of the approaching the Almighty God. Maitriyadi Vasana alabhya, but she, however, in her true essence, cannot be reached through any of these bhavanas, through any of these emotions. Though we can try, we must try to at least achieve her saguna form. The saguna form, the saguna aspect of hers is definitely labhya. It is approachable through any of these. So the scriptures say. However, her nirguna aspect cannot be truly and fully understood through any of the vasanas. Mahapralaya, excuse me, Mahapralaya Sakshini. She is the witness. She is the bystander, the onlooker for the great pralaya, the great dissolution of the universe. When it dissolves into chaos, when there is absolute utter disorder everywhere, that she only merely silently witnesses. For example, there just imagine this scenario where you are walking on the road and as a pedestrian and very close to you there is an accident, right? So much chaos ensues there and a lot of people have gathered. There is the ambulance, then there is the police, then there is probably uh, a horde of gundas, rogues, and so on. So all of that you are silently witnessing, and there is also a certain fear to that aspect. I agree. However, if you were to be given immunity, let's say legal immunity, then you will not be scared because then nobody would ever fear to even stand as a witness. And that is also more so, it's aggravated because the Indian law system, the judicial system is so pathetic that you can just frighten a person and threaten him with by saying I'm going to sue you, because when he sues us, then it's going to be a lifelong fight at the courts with no certain verdict at all. And therefore most people don't want to get involved with the accident. They don't want even come for help, or they just stand there, maybe capturing a video, or just standing out. They just continue with their business. Anyhow, coming back to this, that is the advantage of being a sakshi. As a sakshi, because you are not involved in the scene, you can uh, silently watch all that ensues, but not be affected by it, and not face any consequences either in the past or in the future for it. So that Shakti is capable of doing as a witness to Shiva's Tandava. Parashaktihi, the supreme energy. Paranishtha, the supreme abode, the supreme principle, the almighty principle. Prajnana Ghana Rupini, she is of the form of Prajnana Ghana, a crystallized form of special wisdom. That is the literal meaning of prajnana. However, jnana here does not literally mean knowledge, information, or wisdom. Here, jnana is used in the sense of chetana, of consciousness. Prajnanam Brahma, the Rig Veda Aitareya Upanishad says. Prajnanam means the very consciousness which is stripped of all its all the objects, all the notions of the object. When it becomes and revels in itself as the pure subject, that is called prajnanam. And so the prajnana ghana rupini means such a state of consciousness where it's completely crystallized, which means there is no room for consciousness to escape or become impure again. See, have you seen crystals? They are so pure within and without. And they can actually form crystals only in a solution, a saturated solution, which has no impurities. So, in that manner, she is crystallized consciousness of awareness. Madhvi Pana Alasa. By the consumption of Madhvi Pana means of alcohol. Madhvi Pana is alcohol. Because of the consumption of this, and you can also think uh, actual honey itself, because honey is also, if consumed in a great proportion, an intoxicant. So, because of the drinking, continuous consumption of alcohol or such mm, Kaula Marga Naivedya, she has become Alasa. She is totally detached from the world, dissociated and disconnected, and now is in no mood to involve herself with the mundanities of the world. She is now in a state of inebriation of Alasa. Just as a bee, a honey bee, in fact, another name for Lalita is Brahmarambika, because she had once taken a birth as a bee to destroy a certain asura, Brahmari. Now, as a bee, which when it drinks a lot of nectar, in fact, the worker bees are just supposed to drink the nectar, store it in their mouths, come back to the hive, and give it to either the queen or to the other bees, or feed it to the larvae. That is how honey gets collected. But sometimes the bee consumes the nectar itself, and then it becomes so intoxicated, it starts, you would have noticed such stray bees, they would have separated from the nest, and even if they are near close to the nest, they will not enter the nest. They are just fluttering here and there without a sense of direction, and they are quite fearless in that state also. They won't even fear humans. That's the state of Madhvipana Alasa. Matta, she is again on a high. Then there is a nama which says Matrika Varna Rupini. There is a pun to this. Matra is a syllable. And Matrika means a mother or a mother figure. Varna represents the alphabet. The alphabet a, I, U, R, L, A, I, O, Au, Aha, Ach, Af, Ka, Kha, Ga, Gha, Nga, Cha, Cha, Ja, Jha, Nya, Ta, Tha, Da, Dha, Na, Ta, Tha, Da, Dha, Na, Pa, Pha, Ba, Bha, Ma, Ya, Ra, La, Va, Sha, Sha, Sa, Ha, then some special characters like La and Ksha. So these are the letters of the Samskrita alphabet, which are called the Varnas, the Varnamala. She has each of these 50 letters inscribed in the Sri Chakra petals. There are many petals in the Sri Chakra Yantra. I have sent the figure already on the group. Please check it. And at those particular petals are inscribed the various consonants and vowels. And each of these petals with the Bijakshara or the Varna written in it is capable, and it manifests itself as one of the Matrikas, as one of the Devis, a sub-Devi, uh, which represents that particular Tattva, that particular Bijakshara, and that particular Guna. So those are called the Matrikas or the Matrika Devis. And she is each of those 50 Matrika Devis. In fact, there is a very nice book yours truly has compiled. I'm going to send you that link also. For those people who are adept in Kannada, they can look at this book, wherein another with the collaboration of my Veda Guru and one other Pandita, one other Vidwan, we have compiled together from various tantras the a collection of all the 50 Devis, the Matrikas, and their respective shlokas, and what their actual form is, their physical form, how it looks, and how it is described with a picture with diagrams are given. So that book is called as Panchashat Pitha Rahasyam. Panchashat Pitha Rahasyam, because Panchashat means 50. So the 50 Devis sitting on the Pithas of the Bijaksharas, Panchashat Pitha Rahasyam. And it is a very confidential document, so to speak, a very less accessed, less accessible uh, document. These shlokas were originally scattered all throughout the Siddha Shabara Tantra and Kularnava Tantra and other such prominent Tantra texts. And the Vidwan has greatly, with a lot of effort, has compiled them all together. And I myself have um, collected the diagrams as well as written the shlokas, transliterated them into Kannada for the benefit of the Kannada speaking, the Kannada knowing audience. Of course, the meanings are yet to come out. Maybe it may come in the next book. However, please do check it out in case you are interested. It is available online also. So Matrika Varna Rupini is, yeah. Please share the link or the name of the book, okay? Okay, surely. Dhanyavad. महाकैलास निलय मृणाल मृदुदोर्लता महनीया दयामूर्तिर महासाम्राज्यशालिनी. She resides, her abode is the Mahakailasa, the great Kailasa mountain. In fact, that has been historically the only mountain, the only well-known mountain which has not been climbed successfully till the summit. In fact, even the Everest has been climbed, has been ascended, as has even the most dangerous mountain, which is the K2. But Kailasa mountain has yet to be trekked and ascended. Maha Kailasa Nilaya, and that both physically as well as metaphysically, the Kailasa mountain is a place which is inaccessible to the bhaktas and to common people like us too. Maha Kailasa Nilaya, she sits there. Mrinala Mridudor Lata. Her door means hands. Mrinala mrudu. It is as soft as the stem of uh, a lotus. The stem, the stalk of a lotus, as soft as it. Mrinala mrudu dorlata. Dorlata means her hands, which look like creepers, like climbers and creepers. They are as soft and slender as the stalk of a lotus. Mahaniya, she is uh, most worthy of veneration. Mahaniya, Daya Murtihi, an embodiment of compassion, the very figure of compassion. Maha Samrajya Shalini, she is uh, not bestowed, I would say. She herself has conquered the greatest of all kingdoms, which is the reign over all the Tripuras. That's why she's called Tripura Sundari. Maha Samrajya Shalini. She is the empress of the universe. Atma Vidya, Mahavidya, Shri Vidya, Kama Sevita, Shri Shodashakshari Vidya, Trikuta, Kama Kotika. she There are many Vidyas which are associated with her. First, of course, and the foremost is the Atma Vidya, the secret knowledge, the wisdom, and the experience par divine, which cannot be understood through books, scriptures, gurus, shishyas, uh, cults, religions, whatever. So, Atma Vidya is a very pathless land, as they say it. There is actually no path to it, but a sudden, just as an intuition comes. So this is the greatest blessing that any person can get, the blessing of Atma Vidya, the knowledge of oneself. Atma Vidya. Mahavidya, she also represents greater knowledge. Mahavidya, for example, all the Vidyas which lead to a person till the very last point before he gets Atma Vidya. So such knowledge is called Mahavidya. And then the Upasana Marga, the way of worshipping Lalita and invoking her grace and asking her to open the doors to even reach Mahavidya, is the Shri Vidya. It's first the Shri Vidya. Kama Sevita, and then she is worshipped by Kama. So that is anyhow different. So these are the three primary Vidyas: the Atma Vidya, the ultimate, then penultimate is the Mahavidya, and then the supra penultimate is the Shri Vidya. Shri Shodashakshari Vidya, and we have also seen the Panchadashakshari Vidya, the 15 syllabled Shri Vidya mantra. There is also one other tradition which does the 16 syllabled mantra with an extra hrim added to the original mantra, which is called as the Shodashakshari Vidya because it contains 16 letters, Shodasha Akshari. Incidentally, it is also the same number of uh, Devi servants she has. If you remember, Nitya Shodashika Rupa, the 16 female servants that she has around her are also called the Shodashikas. And the 16, why the number is important is because she herself is the 16th, the Maha Shodashi, who is Lalita. But discounting her, the other 15 represents the phases of the moon, the 15 tithis. And every single day, if one recites the Shri Vidya mantra, then because it is intimately linked to the phases of the moon and the tithis, all graha doshas is said to get removed by this continuous sanidhyata, the uh, presence, the proximity of Shri Vidya in a person's life. Shri Shodashakshari Vidya. Trikuta Kama Kotika. Kuta means a group. Trikuta, this, be it the Shodashakshari or the Panchadashakshari, are both mantras which come in triplets. They have 3 rows of syllables. So it's called Trikuta. Kama Kotika. And this mantra is Kama Kotika. It is the sum total. Koti here represents the sum total. It's the aggregate of all desires. Kama Kotika. So any mantra has three parts to it. So says Swami Chinmayananda. So he says that every mantra should first begin with the addressal to the Devata. Secondly, it must praise the Devata. And third, it must ask for some boon or some prarthana. So these are the three components. One is first you should call upon the Devata for him or her to pay attention to you. Secondly, you must eulogize, praise, uh, worship. You beseech, you act. You don't act, but we try to be subservient, and somehow with all the different tattvas that this particular devata is associated with, we try to bring all of that to it so that it is pleased. And then we ask for our bidding. We ask for it to do our bidding. So this is how every mantra goes. Even for example, the Gayatri mantra, it begins with Om, Bhur, Bhuva, Suvaha. So that is the addressal. The Vyahritis itself are the addressal. It's calling upon this supreme energy of the universe. And unlike most people who say it's just related to the sun, the physical sun, it is not so. It is actually talking to the sun of the universe, which is the sun, which is God itself. So it calls Om Bhur Bhuvasuvaha. These are not just some name of the words, they are themselves names of God. Gayatri Vyahriti Sandhya Dvijavrinda Nishevita. We have seen this. So she is the Vyahriti itself. The name of God is the name of the world, which are the Bhur Bhuvasuvaha. So that is the first part where you are calling upon God. And then we say, we praise him. We say, Tatsavitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya. You are the most effulgent, the most supreme, bright, Varaniya. We all seek you in one way or another. We seek happiness, we seek wisdom, we seek ananda and growth, which are all limited expansion, limited expressions of that supreme seeking for God. And then after saying that, we say, Dhimahi. What do? We are not going to just, wash our hands off you. We are also going to put in our efforts and we are going to do Dhimahi. We are going to meditate upon you. And then, so what do we ask of you? We ask, Dhiyo yonaf prachodayat. Please enlighten our minds. Please enliven our minds. Please bring the spark of intuition, wisdom, and intelligence to all of us. It says, Dhiyo yo naha. Naha means asmakam krite, asmabhyam. It is bring wisdom and light and dispel away darkness. Give prachodana. Prachodana means like, it's like giving an ignition. You're kickstarting an engine. So all the potential is within us, but we are just asking him to start the engines, to start our cars. So that was the Gayatri Mantra, which shows these three parts very neatly. Similarly, even in the Sri Vidya Mantra, it's a very, to put it very crudely, it's a meaningless mantra. There are no words in it. It's just scattered syllables. They're not actually scattered, but it feels scattered to a lay person. And so there is actually no addressal of the deity also, if you can look at it properly. But because there are no words. However, the three kutas, the three rows of these syllables, and I'm purposefully not giving out the syllables because I have been told the mantra. It's not really wise to chant it aloud or to even give it in a medium as such as this. And I myself am not at all qualified to give any of these mantras out. So it must be only taken from a guru who has himself or herself done enough repetitions of the Sri Vidya mantra and attained mantra siddhi is what they say. So I have myself not done any of it, so I cannot even tell you the mantra. But that mantra, the end of these three mantras, the rows of these mantra is Hreem. And that itself is first occurrence will act as the addressal to Lalita. The second occurrence will act as the praising of Lalita, and the third acts as the request, the boon, the vara that we are asking for from her. Okay, so Kama Kotika, therefore, here represents the sum total of all desires which are being asked in this Sri Vidya mantra. And I'll tell you why. Okay, I'll tell you the last three syllables. It's very interesting. It says Sakala Hrim. Sakala means everything. Though they come as three separate consonants, sa, ka, and la, but the third row, therefore, is asking for every single thing, not just asking for intelligence, growth, a good mindset, positivity, nothing. It's sakala, everything. That is one interpretation. And that is also why this mantra is called the Kama Koti mantra. The sum total of all desires are being addressed and sought through the Sri Vidya. Incidentally, even the Kanchi Matha in Tamil Nadu, the Shankaracharya Matha is called the Kanchi Kamakoti Matha, because there Sri Vidya Upasana is very prominent. Kataksha Kinkari Bhuta Kamala Koti Sevita. She is Sevita. She is worshipped by who? Kamala Koti. The group of Kamala, who, Kamala means Lakshmi, who have become Kinkari Bhuta. They have become Kinkaris. They have become lady servants, maids. Kamala Lakshmi has become a maid. How? Kevalam katakshena, just through a kataksha, just through a glance of Lalita, because her glance itself was so powerful, so domineering, and so beautiful, that Kamala willingly, not out of fear, but willingly, was swayed by the charm of her eyes, and she requested to become a servant, to be a maid of honor to Lalita. Kataksha Kinkari Bhuta Kamala Koti Sevita Shirasthita Chandra Nibha Bhalasthendra Dhanuh Prabha. Shirasthita, she sits in the Shiras as the Sahasrara Chakra. Shirasthita Chandra Nibha, she looks like the moon. Chandra Nibha Bhalastha Indra Dhanuh Prabha. The Bhala means the forehead. Bhalastha Indra Dhanuh. Her forehead is beaming like the rainbow. Indradhanu means rainbow. Prabha, like the light from the rainbow, the seven colors of the rainbow. Her forehead is glowing. How? Because one, metaphorically, she holds the Chandra on her forehead, and her forehead and her entire face itself is Aruna. It is orangish in color. So maybe some interference of white light with red light may have resulted in the seven colors. But more metaphysically speaking, Indradhanu represents the seven colors, which is also a euphemism for the Sahasrara, because the Sahasrara is said Sarva Varnopashobhita, right? It is made of all colors. So Bhalastha Indradhanu here represents the Ajna Chakra, which is reflecting the colors of the Sahasrara. Why? Because if you look at, okay, let me pull up that uh, diagram from yesterday. Oh, I don't think I have shared this. Anyway, I'll post it on the group. Please look at it. There, the Ajna Chakra is actually just a two-petal lotus, and it looks like the bow because the middle part of it is vacant, it is horizontal, and there are two ears or two bows to it, which looks like the Indradhanu. And so there, the seven colors or the many colors of the Sahasrara gets reflected, just as how a rainbow is formed by reflection of the actual sun. And there it is glowing, which means she has both these chakras. totally activated. Hridayastha Ravi Prakhya Trikonantara Deepika. Hridayastha, she sits in the Hridaya as the Anahata. Ravi Prakhya, and shines like the sun, Ravi. Trikonantara Deepika. She is the tube light or the lamp. Deepika means a lamp, where which is where it is antara, it is inside the trikona, it is inside the triangle. If you look at the Sri Chakra once again, the bindu is situated at the center, and then right beyond it is the triangle, the first triangle, which represents the three gunas, the three murtis, and it represents the three kalas, bhuta, bhavya, and vartamana. So there she sits like the light as the consciousness which is shining upon all the different manifestations of the triads. Trikonantara Deepika. Dakshayani, the daughter of Daksha. Just as you saw, Katyayani was the daughter of Kata. Here, Dakshayani is the daughter of Daksha as Sati. Katyayani was not literally the daughter. There it was the Gotrapatyam, which means she who was born into the clan of Kata. Here she is the biological daughter of Daksha Prajapati. Hantri, she kills so many foes. Okay, it may be Shumbha Nishubha, Bhandasura, Chandamunda, or it could be Andhakasura, Jalandhara, and so many more. Countless demons have been slayed by Lalita. Daksha Yajna Vinashini, and she was also the reason why her father's Yajna was ultimately destroyed. Daksha Yajna Vinashini. I hope all of you know the story of Sati. Anybody who doesn't know? Okay, then I'll anyway tell it once. There is Brahma, the creator, and he had many children called the Prajapatis. Their very task was to populate the earth, was to create beings and populate the earth. One of them was Daksha. He had a daughter called Sati, and she was a very intelligent lady, very pretty as well as very strong. And then someday, through Narada, she came to know of a very powerful being. Um, his name was Shiva. She only heard stories of him from Narada, and she was immediately smitten by love. And she said, I'm going to marry this person only. So please, father, marry me to him. But then Daksha said, no, no, you can't marry him because he lives in the Shmashana. He engages with the corpses. He has an entire horde, an entourage of ghouls and ghosts. Do not marry him. You can always marry Vishnu. He's also a very eligible bachelor. You can marry Indra. You can marry Agni, Vayu, so many people at your behest. So why do you want to marry Shiva? And he actually has no money also. In today's times and age, so I mean, very sorry to say this, but both sides, be it the boys' side or the girls' side, are all considering this institution of marriage to be a transaction where the girl side is looking at what the salary of the boy is, and then the boy's side is asking what is the height of this lady, or what is the color, what is her complexion. So it's a very ugly, very explicit transaction. I mean, it was always the case, but it was quite subtle and under the rugs. Now it's in a way good that the truth has come out and it is in the face an actual transaction. So that was also how Daksha thought, that he has no money and he'll not take care of you. He has no land, property, no father, no mother. In a way, it is good for the girl because she'll not have in-laws, but it's not really good. He's very mad. He gets mad. He does Tandava in the crematorium. You're not suitable to it. But Sati said, no, no, I am already in love with him. and I am going to pursue him, come what may. And because she was very insisting, Daksha could not do much, and she just walked away from the house, and she ran and eloped with Shiva. They were living a very happy life and so on, and everything was well. And then Daksha one day thought, I'm going to do a yajna to bring well-being to this world. And he started the Daksha Yajna, the famous Daksha Yajna, which actually happened in a place in Karnataka called the Hariharapura, very close to Sringeri. So that place is called the Daksha Yajna Kshetra. There was Daksha performing. He invited all the gods. In fact, Brahma himself, his own father, came as the priest, and he was the Yajamana. He called upon Agni itself to become the fire, and Vayu, etc., etc. All of them had come. Vishnu also had come. However, he did not send an invitation to his son-in-law and daughter. So Sati came to know again, probably because the only mode of communication and broadcast then was Narada Muni, and through his very sly comments, she got frustrated. Why was she not invited to the to her own father's program? And then so she came, and she first spoke to Shiva and said, should we not go to the yajna? The entire world is invited, and they have gathered at Daksha's place. So why don't we also go? It's anyhow of our father. Maybe he must have forgotten uh, in the festivities and in the hectic schedule of his. No, but Shiva said, no, let's not go because we have not been invited. It won't look good that we go there. But Sati still again very insistful. She insisted and she said, okay, fine, you be here. I'll go and check upon my father and I'll come back and invite you personally. So she goes to the yajna. There nobody talks to her because Daksha has strictly warned, stern, with a stern face, he has told everybody that you will not speak to my daughter. And nobody talks to her, and she walks in, and she finds this weird silence, this awkward silence around. And she confronts her father, and she says, what is happening? What's the matter? Why was I not invited? You're doing such a great sacrifice, Homa. And he says, see, you went against my word and you eloped against my wishes. So now I am at no obligation to call you or invite you, either you or your husband. Then she says, okay, it's fine, you don't want us, but what is the problem with me eloping with Shiva? And then he starts on a great list of all hurling abuses and criticizing him with his choices words and so on, which after a certain point becomes unbearable, very ugly. Even the devas themselves start closing their ears and they start very awkward looking at each other, giving awkward glances. Sati can take it no more, right? Because her beloved mm, is being questioned and abused like this. So she says, you do not know the capability of the person who is my husband. I am lucky to have him as my husband. He is the Jagannatha, the Jagad Pralayaka, and please be warned that you do not use any of your words that you have told to me, which I, being your daughter, have so compassionately and kindly forgiven. However, it is no longer right and appropriate for me to live anymore because my own father has bad-mouthed my husband. And so, having heard these words, great papa has incurred in my body, so therefore I shall immolate this body. And so she plunges into the fire which was going on, and she burns. She immediately catches fire, and she is burning. Nobody does anything. They don't even lift a finger. Daksha is shocked, and then uh, in the meanwhile, Shiva comes to know as soon as she jumps into the fire. Lovers somehow have this connection. So he comes to know something is wrong, and then he immediately gets into a fit of rage. He pulls out his hair, and from that hair comes Veerabhadra. Veerabhadra, the very fierce form of Shiva, the militant form of Shiva. he is commanded to go and check upon Sati and bring her back safely. But by the time Veerabhadra comes, she is already self-immolated. Uh, Only charred, burnt pieces are remaining in the Homakunda. And Veerabhadra comes, he goes into war with all the devatas, he defeats them, and then he sees and he brings back the body, the charred body of Sati, and Shiva starts lamenting. And of course, by the time Daksha also gets beheaded, by the way. Veerabhadra comes and he slays Daksha, he gets beheaded, and he comes back with the body of Sati. Shiva, looking at this, is completely devastated. He cries, he laments, he grieves, and it is very unlike him because he is a yogi to see tears in his eyes. And when it has reached a certain limit, when it has crossed a certain limit, emotions overtake anybody. And the story says it overtook him also. And he went into a mode of destruction once again. And to control this, Vishnu, he said that this body, this charred body of Sati, is intensifying his emotion and grief. So let us, put an end to this body. And so he brings out his Sudarshan Chakra and he very tactfully chops up the body, and they fall onto the earth, specifically in the Jambudvipa and more so in the Bharata Varsha, the Akhanda Bharata. And at the places where these parts of the Sati's body fell came to be known as the Shakti Pithas, because she was Shakti itself, and the Pitha, the places where those parts fell, became very powerful centers for worship. And one very famous one is the Kamakhya, where the yoni, the uterus of the mother, fell. That's why even till date we say, when there is this very famous ritual called the Ambubachi, where like how menstruation happens in the uterus, that Devi also, she bleeds, and for certain days in the year that temple is closed. Similarly, the brains of perhaps somewhere fell in Sringeri, which became Sharda, and the I think the chest, the breasts fell in Annapurna, which is Kashi Vishwanatha, and so on and so forth. So you can look up the entire list. So close to 51 Shakti Pithas are present. Some of them are now lost because they are in Pakistan, Nepal, or Myanmar, Burma, and so on. But yes, 51 in all were there. Again, 51, this number comes from where? If you remember, Panchashat Pitha Rupini, the Bija Aksharas of the Varnamala and the Matrika Devatas. Right? So every Shakti Pitha is also associated with one of these Bija Mantras. And that is how she came to be indirectly the Daksha Yajna Vinashini. Darandolita Dirghakshi Darahaso Jwalanmukhi Gurumurtir Gunanidhir Gomata Guha Janma Bhuhu. Her akshi, her eyes are dirgha. They are very elongated. Dirgha akshi. How is it? Darandolita. Darandolita means uh, Andolana means to oscillate. The eyelids, the iris of her eyes are oscillating. Darandolita is a kind of a usage. It's a very semantic usage in Sanskrit. Darandolita means oscillating in a wavy fashion. That's called Darandolita. The Dirghakshi, her eyes which are long and slender and elongated, the iris of it is moving from one end to another in a harmonious, uniform motion. Darahaso Jwalan Mukhi, and her face itself is Ujjwalam. It is set ablaze with a smile. Darahasa. Dara means also slightly parted. So the gentle smile and uh, a laughing face that she has set her entire face ablaze with beauty. Darahasa Ujjwalan Mukhi Gurumurtir Gunanidhir. She is the Guru Murti. She is of the form of Guru. She is the supreme most Guru from whom many people have directly gotten their Diksha of the mantra. So no physical Guru may have given the Diksha of a mantra or of particular path and so on. She is the supreme Guru, Guru Murti. Gunanithihi. She is the collection, the go down of all gunas. Any guna something which is virtuous that you find is definitely already there in the library of Lalita. Gunanithihi Gomata. Very important nama, because in every single Purana, be it the Vedas, the Brahmanas, the Aranyakas, wherever, there is an intimate connection with the with the cow and the Devatas, especially so with the female Devatas. You see, Lakshmi, again, we say Lakshmi resides in the cow. Then Saraswati, of course, she resides in the cow, in the head of the cow. Then we say Lalita, she is cow itself. Gomata, Guha Janma Bhuhu. She is the place of origin, place of birth of Guha. Who is Guha? Does anybody know? Is anybody familiar with the word Guha? Yes, that is also one person who comes in the Ramayana. But Guha is the name of Kartikeya, of Muruga, of Subramanya. Guha is also his name. Guha Janma Bhuhu is one who was the birthplace of Guha happened in a cave. That is why he is also called Guha. When Shiva was meditating and Tarakasura was rampaging the world, it was important that Shiva and Shakti beget a son. So he was residing in a cave. He was meditating in a cave, Shiva. And immediately, because of the urgency, Shakti walks into the cave. And by just exchanging of the glances, um, the Shukra, the semen of Shiva, is spilt, and from the waters which are present in the cave is carried the semen, the genetic material, which is slowly nourished by the Shakti, the energy is coming from Shakti, and further down it is, when it becomes into an actual infant, it is taken care by the Kritikas. That's why he's called Kartikeya. And because there were six seeds which combined into uh, one whole infant, he has six faces still intact. So he's called Shanmukha. And because he was first conceived in the Guha, in a cave, he is also called Guha. And she is, Parvati is the Guha Janma Bhuhu. She is the location, in a sense. The field of energy is where Shiva, the cosmic void, first inserted his seed. What does it mean? So if you just imagine a layer, a fabric of space and time, in it is created a small dent of void. And that void itself becomes the precursor to the Hiranyagarbha. So this is a very metaphorical story where the entire fabric, Janma Bhu, means the place of birth. Literally, it means that, but you can think of it as being the soil or the layer where he was born. That place is where the Guha, means a void, is created. And from that void, because of the exchange of energies, because of some uh, oscillations of the pulse inside, it created what is called as the Big Bang, what we know today as the Big Bang. Perhaps it could have been so. Therefore, this metaphorical story of him being called Guha, Shiva being called Kala, Mahakala, and Shakti being the Janma Bhu, the fabric in which this whole was created, was deposited, is very appropriate. Deveshi Danda Nitistha Daharakasha Rupini. Deveshi, queen of the Devas. Dandanitistha. Dandaniti means the corporal punishment. It literally means the corporal punishment. What it actually means is danda is punishment and niti is reward. So the moralities which control the carrot and stick model. She resides in those principles as those principles itself, which means she is the law, which the moral laws which govern and goad human behavior in certain directions. Dandanitistha, Dahara Akasha Rupini. Dahara means heart. Akasha, the emptiness which is present in the heart. So it doesn't literally mean it is she is present in the heart, the actual physical biological heart as the atria, ventricles, and so on. She there, of course, she is also there, but Dahara Akasha means the void, the metaphorical heart, the core of our being, where we feel a void, we feel emptiness. Just as after a breakup, or after a divorce, or after losing a person, after bereavement, or even in loneliness. Why do we feel this? In each of these circumstances, the void within us, which has already been there, is made more evident, more apparent. So that Dahara Akasha is itself Lalita too. So it is not something which is disgusting. It is not something which you must be shameful of, but it is present there. She has kept it there, and she is that. Pratipan Mukhya Rakanta Tithi Mandala Pujita. She is Pujita. She is worshipped when Pratipat Mukhya Rakanta Tithi Mandala Pujita. She is worshipped on the Pratipat. Mandala means a series of dates. Tithi Mandala means it's a sequence of dates of tithis which come Pratipan Mukhya, starting from the Pratipad, the first day of the moon. Raka Anta. Raka is the full moon. Anta means on the end. Pratipat Mukhya, starting from the first Prathama Tithi till the Purnima. These 15 days, the waxing phase of the moon is basically most conducive for her worship. Pratipan Mukhya Rakanta Tithi Mandala Pujita. She loves the worship when it is done either as 15 days or as 45 days, which means you start from the previous masa's Pratipada or Prathama and continue for the entire month. And then when the next Purnima comes in the next month, you will end the sadhana. So that is called an entire mandala. Pratipan Mukhya Rakanta Tithi Mandala Pujita. Kalatmika Kalanatha Kavyalapa Vinodini. All of this has already been explained. She is of the form of all arts. Kalanatha, she owner of all arts. Kavyalapa Vinodini. She loves, in fact, she's not a very serious deity unlike Shiva. She is Vinodini. She loves humor. She engages with the world like a mother, right? So she talks in baby language to the baby. She already knows sophisticated language herself with which she converses with her husband. But with us, her children, she will come down to our level and speak in baby tongue and play with us, talk with us, gossip about us, acknowledge our stories. Whenever we come back from our school, we will tell our stories, complaints, things that happened in the school, and so on. So all of that is as good as Kavya Alapa. Alapa is just gossip. Kavya Alapa. She loves and we're very fond of, in fact, of literature, of Sahitya, all feminine qualities of literature. In fact, not the Shastras, not the serious hair splitting philosophies, but all that is enjoyable, all which which has rasa in it. Kavya and Alapa and general gossip. She loves Vinodini. Sachamara Ramavani. So, and in fact, that quality is also present very evidently in Ganesha too. Ganesha is also shown as a very chilled out bro. He actually is. He doesn't really like the serious kinds. He's not a serious kind. He loves food. He loves merriment. That is why even the entire Ganesha Chaturthi is a big fest. So, and those genes have come from Lalita. And in stark contrast to Shanmukha, who gets his genes more so from Shiva than Parvati. So he is a very serious god. He is the god of warfare, like the commander. You know, we seldom see any army officials smile or even let alone laugh. They are the serious kind, and so is Shanmukha. He demands very strict discipline. All these Naga pujas that we do, right? We do a lot of muddy, don't talk, don't touch, be on a fast, be in brahmacharya, do those very steps of the ritual very exactly, don't do any lopa dosha. There is no prayaschitta for such rituals and so on. So all of this is a very strict thing. Whereas Ganesha and Lalita and Gauri are very chilled out. Sachamara Ramavani Savya Dakshina Sevita. She is Sevita again, worshipped by Vani and Rama, by Lakshmi and Saraswati, where Savya and Dakshina, left and right, Savya and Dakshina, stand Lakshmi and Saraswati. How? With Sachamara, with chamaras, with ceremonial fans. You have seen in such in all these serials of Mahabharata and Ramayana. There will be these ladies behind the king who keep fanning him. So that is called a chamara. With that, Rama and Vani are fanning Lalita. Savya Dakshina Sevita. Okay, let's stop here. 124. We will continue from Adishakti Rame Atma. I think we will be able to complete within the 30th. We have 10 more days. So if you were to, so we are at 125, right? 125. So there are 60 more. So 6 shlokas per day also will get us uh, easily by the end of this month. Astu. Any questions? Any remarks, insights, or outsides?
Okay, sir, from Parvatamalila. I mean, this question is something which is, I don't know whether I should ask this question or not. I'm not really questioning anything here.
Yes, yes, please go on.
I'm saying they representing good things and bad things.
Hmm.
I mean, what we have understood so far, right? So, and bad things as per our societal norms and things like that, right? So then, like, if even if something is happening in the society, we should not confront, we should not say this is bad and things like that, right? But it is actually bad things, and the Devi has both. And I don't know whether it's actually this question should be asked, but I'm not really questioning the existence or the importance of this or what you are saying. But this comes out with a logical questioning, saying that if Devi has everything, good and bad, and then we should not confront anything what is happening in the society because bad things are also happening, right?
Very true. Very valid question. This is a very important question also because that helps us philosophically understand the backing to this entire Sahasranama. Just as we have also addressed the same question when it came to Shiva Sahasranama too. So, like I had said earlier too, Lalita is Vishwam. She is the entire world. And like you have rightly pointed out, ma'am, she is both the good and the bad because she is, first of all, the classification of good and bad, at least in my view, in my personal worldview, is a construction of the human mind because such terminologies or at least such behavior is not seen in non-human creatures. So this classification is purely a human construct. And therefore, she by default is everything. Therefore, what we perceive as good and bad, she already was. But because of our human mind, because of things which facilitate our survival, which facilitate the sustainability of society, which facilitate the sustainability of the future generations, with which facilitate pleasure, maximum pleasure to maximum people. So by all such constraints, we have come up with certain morals. So, for example, we say you should not hit another person, but then we will allow hitting of another person if it comes to war. We will say, ah, yes, we will cheer the soldiers. We'll say, yeah, yes, they fired, they shelled Pakistan. Yeah, and then Pakistanis will say, yeah, yeah, we destroyed India and so on. We killed these many people. So there is always a gray area when it comes to morality. We perceive the other side as terrorists. We perceive them. Of course, they are. I'm not denying them. They started the war. But then, if you actually, without emotions attached, without nationality attached, if you were to look at it in an alien from outside, you will just see two factions of human race which are fighting against each other. Of course, one is the aggressor, the other was the victim, and therefore the victim now is retaliating. So there, it's as simple as that. There are two parties which are retaliating against each other. One may have initiated, the other is retaliating, whatever be the cause. So from as the alien's perspective, there is no morality to this war. But from our perspective, because we like to, as humans, like to attach certain purpose, certain morals, certain high grounds and low grounds, we will bring in morality. This is what my personal belief is. Others can also surely express yours. Therefore, what we usually tend to classify as wrong, evil, bad, something which is disgraceful, and so on, what we in general call as adharma, is something which is not sustainable for the human beings. Now tell me, is constructing a house, is it dharma or adharma? Let's say you're doing all the pujas, homas, all that, etc. You're calling the priests, you give dana, dakshina for everybody, and but you construct a home. It is dharma in the sense that it has helped the economy prosper, it has helped your other family members get good meals. But it is adharma from the plant's perspective because you have now, by constructing, putting up a construction, uh, essentially cleared out a patch of land which could have been used for agriculture, or which could have been better yet used for as a forest kept to itself. It would have grown a forest. The CO2 in the oxygen, the CO2 level in the atmosphere would have come down. So from the plant's perspective, it is adharma. But from our perspective, it is dharma. So it is always a gray area. Because this is a gray area because it is, we are looking through our lenses. And to break open this lens, not necessarily literally to make us into confused souls, but to take us and look at things from a more unbiased, more holistic view. The Lalita Sahasranama and in fact the Shiva Sahasranama also in Vishnu Sahasranama, at many places will start associating purposefully the Devi or the Devata with some of these so-called negative aspects. So that this very important question will always arise, and it must arise. And perhaps they also predicted that all such questions will definitely arise, and therefore there will be a solution given to. Though I'm not saying the solution that I'm giving is actually convincing, but because of that, uh, we will begin to think from a more intellectual, more logical, unattached, less emotional moral lens. We will still have moral lens, but we will try to peek through a lens which is slightly higher, more transcendental than our current lenses. If that is achieved, then that is the fulfillment of the Sahasranama. Just as she endorses both the Kaula Marga as well as the Savya Marga, the Kaula, the left-handed, and the right-handed path, Dakshina Marga. Just as she has both a cup of wine as well as the lotus in her hands, just as she holds both the Ayodhya as well as Abhaya Hasta. In one hand, she'll keep poking and goading us, showing violence. On the other hand, she'll show Abhaya also. So that is how God is. That in fact, not just Lalita, any god in fact will have an Ayodhya, he will also have an Abhaya, depending on different circumstances and what we deserve. So basically, to answer your question, I don't know why it is so, to put it in short, but this is one explanation I usually give. The others in the group can also please pitch in and give your perspective why Lalita is shown in some namas as the so-called evil things, the bad things of life.
are right, sir, because that, I mean, we are all humans, right? Like, we are very, at the low level, but Devi and Mata and all, they are at the high level. So we agree to say.
Hmm. But not to deny that, yes, this question is very valid, and I also have the same question. The expression I've given myself is convinces me, I would say, to 20-30%, but still, yes, in actual practical life, when it comes, when I see a robber or let's say a cunning, manipulative relative or whoever it is, I will definitely, I mean, the last thing which will come to my mind is that, oh, he's Lalita. That will never be my first thought. But yes, it's very, very impractical, it's very ideal, but very impractical also.
Darshana here.
Yes, yes, Arya.
I think it's not just human. I mean, I don't think it's just morals. Dharma and dharma do exist, right? Because the example that you have given, when we break, when we go, I mean, we build without respecting nature, then
Mm.
we have to pay a price. And we are paying the price.
Mm.
We are paying the price. So if we do not, I mean, so look abroad, you see abroad, they have done the same thing, but then they are not paying the price because they are planting trees in exchange of what they bring.
Mm.
So I think it's not only morals. Definitely there is dharma and adharma there. Because, for example, drinking alcohol, as long as you are not harming anybody, it may not be wrong.
Mm.
But the minute you harm anybody, whether it is by drinking alcohol or without drinking alcohol,
Mm.
then you have to, I mean, you have to give. They are only showing us the ayudha to say that you fight what is wrong. I guess wrong is there so that you know what is right.
True, true,
And
correct.
dharma and adharma, clearly preached in our Vedas. Clearly preached. There is nothing wrong in two people. The news that comes nowadays, the youth, the younger generation, there's nothing wrong in it. But the minute it is what you call subjugation, then it is wrong, and you have to fight it.
Mm. Very true.
Is my take. So what we have gone from actually in Bharata, all these Vedas, Dharma and Adharma is clearly defined.
Mm.
We have gone away from it. We have stood, and we are paying a price. We are paying a price. Without doubt, we are paying a price.
Correct.
So
Very right.
that I think it's not just it's there so that unless you unless you know what is wrong, you will not know what is right. One and two is the ayudhas are there to show that you have to fight and control. I mean, that's all what is all about, right?
Mm.
This is there, but you have to pay a price for it. If you do this, you pay a price. And sooner or later, you will pay a price,
True,
no
true.
matter what.
Very right. In fact, when you just said about the Ayudha, in fact, so many more names in the Lalita Sahasranam itself comes where she is called Daitya Hantri, Daksha Nashini, then Rakshakari, she protects, and so on. So, yes, both are being told. Yes, there are also some dark themes. And I think to put both of your points together, to collate both of your points together, yes, though she may come as the in the form of evil, she'll also the person who is fighting, and he will be fighting, he should be fighting. The Shishtas will be fighting against the Dushtas, and the form of both Shishta and the Ayudha and the strategy also will be Lalita itself. So that can somehow satisfy both the answers.
Lalita or any god. So it doesn't mean that also nowhere in none of the scripture you will ever find her or him or anybody saying Dharma Nashin.
Mm. Mm.
Everywhere it is protection of those who are innocent.
Correct.
Because intention matters. Intention matters.
Mm.
So definitely, I mean, we need not see that it is evil. So Lalita there in the evil, so I accept it. No, the same Lalita in us. So it's just a matter of being predominant at that particular coordinate. She's predominant to help those following the right path. Otherwise, it will become very difficult if we just keep on accepting her as an evil force.
Correct, correct. Very true.
I think she's there just to show us what is evil and to fight it. That is what we hope is.
Very right. Anything else?
Astu.
धन्यवाद. धन्यवाद. अस्तु. We shall meet tomorrow. धन्यवादः. नमस्ते.